conferences. Does any of that stress you out? If it doesn't, it should. Because it's a very stressful thing, especially if you're a first-year teacher. So going into a parent-teacher conference, not having a lot of background on knowing the student, knowing the families, knowing the process, becoming the expert in the room, you don't feel like that yet, but yet you're being told that you are. It's very, very difficult. So parent-teacher conferences, they do get better, but your first one is going to be rough. Usually you are a lot younger than the parents that you are talking to, and you are also the most inexperienced, but yet you are considered the expert in that situation. So it is difficult. It's very difficult. So there's a couple tricks and tips that I can share with you. I got off a website from Western Governors University. As much as I really don't like that school, they do a pretty good job of the spreadsheet or the website that they give you about parent-teacher conferences. What I have found to be true in most situations with education, and I know you guys have heard me say this before, is just like sticking to the facts. So if you're going to talk to a parent about their kid, whether they need help in math or a behavior problem or they're doing great, the best way to do that is to make sure that they know the facts. They know what's going on, they know what exactly happened, and parent-teacher conferences should not be the first time that you meet your parents. So if you don't know your child's or your student's parents before parent-teacher conferences, it'd be a really great idea to try and go find them. So either go outside your classroom during pickup, see if they're picking them up after school. Maybe you could catch them at a basketball game, or just say hey in the grocery store, or maybe give them a call, or maybe a text or something like that, saying hey, let's talk, and that could be a positive thing. I have had that situation before where I did not know who was coming in. And so when they would come in, the parents would come into my room, I have to quick do an evaluation, like, who are they? Who haven't I seen yet? I had to go through all the parents that I knew, connected with the kids that I didn't know who the parents were, and then look at the file folders and who I had left to see that day, make a pretty good guess. And sometimes I didn't want them to know I didn't know who they were. So sometimes I would just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys are here today. So what are you hearing about our classroom? Like something goofy like that. And so the parent would say, oh, well, so-and-so said this, or we've heard he's gotten really good at football. Then I'm like deducting again, like who could this belong to? So there are kind of like creative ways to get around it, but if you flat out don't know, just say flat out, I don't know who you are. Introduce yourself and then go from there. Okay, the best way to start a parent-teacher conference is to, here, let me pull up the WGU website and we'll go with that. The best way to start this is to be proactive. So you're going to make sure that you're going to be prepared. You know kind of what the questions that you're going to ask. You know what information you're going to present. You know what work you're going to show the parent. You're going to, the documentation that you're going to use. Maybe this will be a good time to pick up a conversation that you started earlier with the parent, those kind of things. But be prepared, be proactive. So whatever you're going to do is it shouldn't be on the fly and it shouldn't be on the defense. Right away at the beginning of your parent-teacher conference, make sure your parents feel welcome. When I was working at St. Limbury Indian School, one thing they told me to do is do not overdress during parent-teacher conferences. So don't wear clothes that show that you are at a different status than your parents, which I had never heard that before, because I always thought you dress for success, professional, the whole thing. The principal I worked under had a different idea. She felt, and I totally believe this as well, that if you are dressing above the class of parents that you are talking with, then you have created a barrier because you have like a us and them. So it was very often that when my co-teachers and colleagues and stuff during parent-teacher conferences would wear normal, regular, plain old, whatever clothes they wore to school that day. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything fancy. It was just what they usually wear. So that could be a form of being welcoming. Another form of being welcoming is making sure that the parents feel like they are part of the classroom and that they are part of this child's education. It should never ever be you against them. It should always be like, hey, we're working on this together. It's an us thing helping your child. So when that comes in, is if you got yourself prepared and you're going to be proactive to help in your welcoming situation, those two things right off the bat are going to make the rest of your conversation with that parent go a little bit easier. I have always found it's easiest to start off with a lot of positives. So even if you can't find them, make them up, or think very, very strongly about this situation. Like, if you can't find anything positive about that student, then you need to work on the relationship with that student, because there's always positives with kids. Kids are not born mean or naughty. They have become that way because of their situations. So you have to look at them and look at all the positive things that they have going on. So if they tend to talk a lot in class, maybe your positive spin on that would be they are friends with everybody, or they make friends easily, or she's not afraid to speak her mind. That'd be a perfect one. If you have a boy who maybe has lack of focus in math, maybe you could say something about he really exceeds in things he's interested in, like drawing and painting. Or you could like frame it as there's lots of positive things going on in the art and athletic side, but there's always like the but, and it's kind of a positive sandwich where you've got something positive, and then we're going to tell the parents what we kind of need to tell them, because you can't sugarcoat everything, and then at the end we end with the positive as well. So if the little boy is lacking focus, he's really great in art, he's got a great focus with XYZ. I hope that focus falls into his math because he's struggling behind in blah blah blah. I wonder if he would have any interest in the program we have after school with robotics, because that would be kind of artsy, kind of mathy, whatever. So you could just say, kind of put it that way. Say, this is what's positive with your child. This is what I'm worried about. This might need a little love. And this is the next step of the next positive thing that we could do. So if I find framing that has always been the easiest way. Okay, so I know you guys are probably sick of my stories, but I have to tell you the story of my very first parent-teacher conference. It was horrible. I was teaching kindergarten at Ashland Public, and this was like honestly 25 years ago. So I'm sure things have changed since then. The principal that I had, her daughter was in kindergarten, and her daughter was not nice. And the reason why she wasn't nice is she said that my mom is your boss and I can boss you around. That was the kind of thing she's giving to me. So she didn't listen to a lot of things I had to say. And if I was my first year teaching, I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, I was going back to those default things that I had seen from other teachers growing up, and what I was doing with this child wasn't working. So I knew parent-teacher conferences were coming up. I was going to have to say something, because you can't ignore some of the things, and it wouldn't be right for me to say everything was like peachy and wonderful when it really wasn't. So what I did is I went to the 8th grade teacher in that school, who also had a child from the principal and in his class. And so then I said, how do you go about this? What should I do? And he's the one that told me this, that I've used over and over and over again, is you just have to state the facts. I told whatever her name was, Emily, I told Emily to please sit down. She did this. I did this. She did this. Whatever it was, we had to make sure we had it in order and exactly what happened. I didn't say, I believe, I think, I feel. Nope, this is not the time for that. This is what happened. This is what I'm seeing in my classroom. This is what's going on in my classroom. This is what I'm doing about this in my classroom. And that, I've carried that still. I'm still telling you guys this today. This is 25 years later. And so I really do believe that that's the best way to handle things, is you have to just be objective, factual, and you have to just tell it like it is. Call a spade without being rude. It was super hard. I was sweating bullets. And she was kind of snarky with me about it, but it was also her child, and now, since being a parent, I can kind of see where she was angry. But I think I just might have been the first teacher of a lot of teachers to tell her that was going on with their students. So hopefully your first one is not that bad. Hopefully you can just fly through these things no problem. By the time I got under my craft under my belt and was really doing well with this, I really looked forward to parent-teacher conferences, because then I started bringing the student in. I'm like, okay, so what should I tell your parents? You tell me, and they'll just flat out say, well, I haven't get my homework done. Yeah, that's what I would tell them too. What should we do about that? Well, you should probably keep me in for recess. Okay, I'll keep you in for recess. What's next? Well, I should probably just get it done at home. Yeah, that's a really good idea. We try that for tonight? Yep. And that was as easy as that. And so my conversation with the parents would be more like, oh, Emily and I have had some chats lately about her homework, but I think we have a plan. Emily, would you like to explain your plan to your parents? It's as easy as that. And so the parents that I've really gotten to know over the years have become some of your best allies in your classroom, because they will be the ones that will help you out. They can also be the ones that are the most controversial in your classroom as well. So play it by ear. Okay, so the next thing, always be prepared. What I always tried to do is have a stack of folders of all the things that I wanted to tell each parent, and then when their parent came in, I grabbed the folder, we opened it up, we talked about what was going on, and I always tried to leave the conference with something positive that we're going to do for each child. So like creating an action plan. Okay, so Emily's not bringing her homework in. She's decided she's going to stay in for recess. She told me she's going to get it done again. But that's the things that we're doing at school. What are some things that you guys can do to help me out at home? Or you could say something about, we're in this together as a team. What would be best for Emily? Those kind of situations. As long as you phrase it as we're helping, because that's what you are doing. You're helping the student become better in whatever they are doing. And the good, bad sandwich. That's what I was talking about before, the positive. They need a little love, and the more positive at the end. Don't tolerate abuse. I hope that you never have to deal with this situation. It just says that, parents will threaten to call a superintendent or your principal about how you're doing or whatever. I've never really run into parents who are bullies or intimidating. I had, some that want to talk about other people's children. That's probably the one that I don't like the most. If the parent's coming in to talk to me about their child, I don't want to talk about another child, because that's not right. Because I'm not going to allow anybody to kind of put interrogate other students who are not even in the room, and then we got to look at that's other students, it's other people's kids. Keeping lines of communications open is always a good idea. So at the end of the parent-teacher conference, don't be the last time you talk to them. We'll get in touch again, or let's follow up in 2 weeks, whatever you want to say. That was a supersonic fast way to talk about parent-teacher conferences. We will loop again this on next Tuesday, because I just don't think that was probably doing that justice. So food for thought, think about it, and we'll retouch this idea on Tuesday when I see you. Thanks, guys.